is no place in Australia for symbols that glorify the horrors of the Holocaust.
It's an old hate adopted by a new generation.
We have seen an explosion in the cancer of intolerance of white supremacists and neo-Nazis.
A disturbing resurgence of the far right, led by the National Socialist Network, neo-Nazis. They marched in Melbourne last month, many of them seen at an anti-transgender protest earlier this year.
Look at what you're protecting, actual Nazis! Are you kidding me?
That saw Victoria begin the process of banning the Nazi salute. The state has already outlawed Nazi symbols along with New South Wales. Today, the federal government got on board.
I find it almost unthinkable that this legislation is even necessary. Thousands of Australians fought and died to defeat this evil, and thousands more found refuge in our country from the evils of the Holocaust.
Things like flags, armbands and T-shirts with Nazi insignia and SS symbols will be banned in public and online, along with the selling or displaying of memorabilia. But it doesn't go as far as restricting the Nazi salute. The law won't apply to religious swastikas, and there are some exemptions for academia. Otherwise, the punishment is up to a year in prison.
This is a battle between good and evil, and we are determined to win this. It sends an unmistakable message to a resurgent white supremacist movement. You will never win, and you will never have a foothold in our country.
ASIO says 30% of its current caseload is dealing with far-right terror threats from ideologically motivated extremists. But there are fears the new regulations could backfire or potentially push the movement underground.
Prosecutions would actually be publicised, and they would enable people who are being prosecuted to actually use the platform to promote their views.
But for many of those trying to restrain the neo-Nazi resurgence, today's a step in the right direction.
It's a day for the history books and every Australian who loves this country.
Daniel Leguion from the Jewish Community Council of Victoria joins us. Daniel, what are your thoughts on this new law?
Well, it's a good start and we're grateful for it. It has two benefits, given that it's coming from the Commonwealth. The first is that it will control or remove the import and export of these hateful symbols of the Nazi regime. And the second benefit of it being done at the Commonwealth level is that it will deal with these symbols again on an online basis.
What do you think this argument that some legal experts are making that actually this could backfire, what you'll get is a platforming effect, so people will come prosecuted under these laws, they use that then as a soapbox to spread their ideology?
No, look, I don't think that's going to happen. We know that the publicity that is generated by neo-Nazi rallies is used as a recruiting tool. So if we ban this conduct, we restrict the ability of the neo-Nazis to recruit more adherents. The second thing is, look, you wouldn't expect a judge or a magistrate to allow their court to be used in that way.
But why would it stop the rallies? I mean, the symbols are banned, not the rallying. They can still gather and have a protest. They might even come up with new symbols or new banners or whatever. But if they do choose to use the symbols, then they do go to court. There's that martyrdom effect. Like, why do you think this would stop the rallying propaganda? Well,
I don't think it'll stop the rallying propaganda completely. I think what it will do is it will limit its effect. And it's true. You know, there's a little bit of whack-a-mole in this, in that we seem to be chasing symbols. What I'd like to see is what the Victorian government has said it would do, which is look at anti-vilification more broadly. And that will then allow us to look at anti-Semitic behaviour more across the board rather than chasing symbols or gestures. I think we've got to look at a broader solution. So this is a start, it's a process, but I think there's more to be done.
How do these symbols and rallies affect the Jewish community in Australia, Daniel?
I think these days they make us more angry rather than fearful. You know, there's no real or legitimate risk of the rising of a Nazi regime. But, of course, what they represent is a particularly dark period in human history, when 6 million Jews were wiped off the face of the earth simply because of their religion. And you know, there were others, of course, the communities that were attacked and destroyed as well. And so when we see this, you know, we see these gestures, we see these symbols, we get angry. We get angry that people could even conceivably adhere to such a hateful regime and a hateful doctrine. It's beyond belief.
Yeah, it's got no place in 2023. Daniel, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.